Creating YouTube videos covering the gaming industry can sometimes run into problems to where the video in question becomes dated with old information by the time that said video releases. Because sometimes, my life is just the old slowpoke meme. And this is what unfortunately happened with my prior video on Xbox's multi-platform strategy and why Gears of War Reloaded exists. And while I very much stand behind the content within that said video, given that it explains the clear approach that Microsoft and Xbox executives had when it came to releasing their titles on other platforms like the PlayStation 5, recent news developments have added a dose of uncertainty to the future of Xbox's aforementioned multi-platform approach. So to wit, let's dive into that recent update. In a story that IGN broke just before an announcement was released publicly, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer has retired after maintaining that job title for roughly 12 years. Sarah Bond, who was Spencer's protege and long thought to be the next in line to inherit Spencer's position, has also departed the company. Instead, the new Microsoft Gaming CEO is now Asha Sharma, who was the president of Microsoft's Core AI product before laying claim to the Xbox label. Also, Xbox executive Matt Booty, phrasing, now has the title of Chief Content Officer. Now, there are a lot of statements and company emails primarily from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, Phil Spencer, Asha Sharma, and such, but I'm not really going to read those statements verbatim because repeating a bunch of corpo speak just makes for a dull and dry video watching experience that is in desperate need of some zesty mayonnaise. Here is a picture of Paul Rudd. But what I will say is that, despite Spencer asserting that his retirement was planned long ahead of time, it really doesn't feel that way considering the timing that Spencer's heir to the Xbox mantle, Sarah Bond, resigned instead of actually being his successor as planned, and in how Sharma, the new Microsoft Gaming CEO, doesn't have any experience running a video game company and used the opening sentence of her statement, the one announcing her new position as Xbox's new head honcho, to state, "My first job is simple. Understand what makes Xbox work and protect it," end quote. Which I don't know, shouldn't the new head of Xbox know how Xbox works before being anointed as the new head of Xbox? Just saying. Admittedly, to Sharma's credit, her statement, despite how it neglects certain issues to the point that Sharma being installed as the new head of Xbox kinda just inspires no confidence, attempts to assuage various uncertainties regarding the Xbox brand's corporate shakeup. Starting with what she actually said, Sharma's statement doesn't really sound as layered and heavy corporatese as far as statements from big corpo go. Detailing prioritization on games as an art form and a need to take creative risks, recommitting to the Xbox brand and its fans, though this ideal is contradicted by her also stated desire to ensure that Xbox games remain multi-platform. And then there is this big quote: "To meet the moment, we will invent new business models and new ways to play by leaning into what we already have, iconic teams, characters, and worlds that people love. But we will not treat those worlds as static IP to milk and monetize. We will build a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories. As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Games are and always will be art, crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us." End quote. That soulless AI slop soundbite is definitely meant to alleviate the anxiety of Xbox fans, considering, as stated earlier, Sharma was previously the president of Microsoft's Core AI product, and seeing as gaming is an art form, Sharma needed to distance herself from her prior position in the company. So it was kind of necessary for her to say this. However, it's one thing to shit talk generative AI, but it's a whole other thing to reflect that same ideal. Not necessarily because we can't give Sharma the benefit of the doubt, but more due to the fact that we can't give Microsoft that same benefit of the doubt. After all, as a company, they have gone all in full deep throttle by just pushing AI in pretty much every product, even if it makes that said product worse. And then there's just the fact if Microsoft will allow Sharma to keep her word on these commitments to the Xbox brand, considering that Microsoft's approach to Xbox in the past year, resulting in the company cutting payroll, raising prices on hardware, services, and software, and having committed a multi-platform strategy for so many of their titles rather than being exclusive to Xbox. And granted, Microsoft's rationale for these demands to cut costs and increase profit across its gaming sector are technically understandable after the latter years of Phil Spencer's tenure resulted in the Xbox brand faltering after the failure of the Everything is an Xbox campaign, Microsoft's overspending on acquiring developers and publishers, and overall overestimating Game Pass's potential profitability even with Call of Duty. So you can kind of get where Microsoft is coming from with its need for profit, but still this represents the age-old problem of a new executive suffering from the sins of who held the title prior, which might technically be unfair, but them's the breaks. So yeah, lots of uncertainty across Xbox and its affiliated studios right now, and hopefully this video won't be dated by the time it eventually comes out. Please knock on wood by liking and subscribing today.